Good morning. So today I'd like to go a little bit more just into the anthroposophy. This is where we're going to reference and do a lot of our analysis with other media in this reference. And today I'm only going over the three great impulses: Lucifer, Ahriman, and Christ. The fourth one is just a direct opposition, which we'll get into otherwise, but this is part of the spectrum. The fourth is not part of that spectrum. It's just direct opposition. So we have Lucifer on one end, Ahriman on the other, and we navigate the two through Christ. First, I go into a little bit of core identity, describe just a little bit of what each one's about, spiritual function, how it can distort the self, and distortions that we can see in society. So is somebody, you could, I'll get more into that. Symptoms of where we can start to identify where we might be too to one side or the other, or imbalances. Then there is the redemptive quality that we're going to get into, integration method, and Christ's role in balancing them. So I'm going to try to keep this as short as can be, and kind of set up for future videos as well. And any comments, suggestions, or otherwise, I'm exploring this with you, and I appreciate your participation or any comments that you have to say. So, in the core identity with Lucifer, Ahriman, and Christ, Lucifer is the spiritualization of matter. Sometimes known as the fallen angel or false light, where Ahriman on the other side is the spirit of materialism, mechanization, and the Christ, solar logos, and divine harmonizer. So Lucifer, being the spiritualization of matter, is what brings us, uplifts us out from the material. And when we access imagination, when we get creative, we're spiritualizing the material. Where we create structure, routine. These are all from a different place of thinking, and that is Ahriman. That can become extreme. Christ balances the extremes, incarnates divine love into time and form. So this helps balance or put into balancing harmony. Ahriman densifies into rigid form, encourages intellect, systems, and control. We can see that through a lot of aspects of society. Too many systems that we have to go through that makes it hard to express our creativity and spirit, that doesn't allow for us to cultivate that, If there's too many systems, well, again, we're going to save those things for other videos. I want to keep this as brief as can be, so I may catch myself a couple of times if I want to go into this. Lucifer, again, allows us to uplift towards spiritual ecstasy, imagination, and transcendence. So those are the spiritual functions. Now, there are some extremes. We can find in the distortion of self. Lucifer can start to distort our own identity when we start to um, get into overstimulation. Any types of things that we don't do in moderation, escapism, things that we do um, to escape what we feel we need to process. And we'll get more into those things in later videos as well. Spiritual bypassing, ego inflation. These are all things that are part of the Luciferian um, that we can start to identify distortions in the self with. Ahriman, on the other side, is a cold intellect, reductionism, fear-based control, a spiritual deadness. When we feel lack of connection with other people, a lot of relying so much on systems or feeling trapped by our lifestyle or the way certain things are, the lack of expression, right? Always relying on what's evident instead of what might be in your heart. Christ's impulse unites the mind, body, and spirit. It bridges the inner and outer worlds. So we can say that Ahriman might reflect more to the outer world, whereas Lucifer reflects more of the internal world. And Christ helps us have a sacred union between both. Now, this can also go to distortions in society, not just with the self, but we can see this in society with Lucifer as a chaotic new age delusions or fantasy cults, denial of material reality. Where Ahriman, on the other side, is more technocracy, transhumanism, scientism, rigid dogma. So when we try to ascend or progress, we're the whole concept. A lot of this um, is not just about it's understanding that we're here to grow and we're here to evolve and we're here to prosper this world. This earth is rich with abundance and we can cultivate that for everyone, right? That's the idea that we can work towards in a way. And Ahriman believes that progress is strictly through, in society, material. This is where we see things like cybernetics, Neuralink, DNA manipulation. This is all beliefs that we can ascend and progress through the material. We don't need any aspect of the spirit. There's no acknowledgement to the spirit. So this is a distortion, and Anthroposophy would say this is a distortion in society from an extreme impulse to Ahriman. Whereas the Luciferian distortion is this, would be the extreme. There's no material development. There's no reflection in the outer world. As there's no community, a brotherhood, a family of our society growing together, reflecting our growth into spirit, and what, you know, reflects with one another. It is um, more just the disregard to the material, and it's all spirit. You know, they're both equally important. I really, it seems as though anthroposophy emphasizes the sacred union between material and spirit, and that means that there is a sense of it being equal. To live life in just the spirit alone, or to live solely in the material, is not whole. It's not the whole experience. There is both. So symptoms of influence. So this is some things that um, we can measure or gauge within ourselves where we are. Um, that some of these symptoms might be connected to. So when we feel mania, disembodiment, obsession with pleasure or freedom, um, this is a call towards the Luciferian impulse. This is, an anthroposophy would say, this is what's coming, channeling through, that these urges and things that, you know, comes from that. And of course, you know, that can be through overcompensation. Maybe, you know, there's either just a strong drive, or your home life, or your work environment. Um, Society can cultivate too much rigid systems that feels like it's trapping the soul. You know, it's gonna really start to look for that, and without knowing how to navigate that properly, we can just go to the extreme of what that feels like. Um, that we think is healing, but it's just jumping to the other side, and that's just um, as off balanced. Now, when we start to feel symptoms of anxiety or numbness, deep tribalism, or any type of denial of the soul, this these symptoms come from the Araman impulse, where we're lacking connection, we're lacking heart to heart, you know, and that can be too. Um, in harmonizing both of these symptoms, when we feel peace, when we feel clarity, courage, moral integrity, and love through action, when we nurture ourselves and others, when we are at peace, these are different. These are the green zone. These are how we navigate through these other impulses. The goal is not to have a battle between Ahriman and Lucifer. The goal is to have them in balance, to have it in check, that that to identify where are we disconnected, or where are we escaping? Are we at peace? Does your actions carry love? We can ask ourselves these things and see where we might be off. or on. Now, the redemptive potential. Sometimes we get too extreme in one or the other, and there are effects that come from that. How do we remedy within ourselves? Or how does a character in a story or a video game redeem? Or where does the story, you know, again, we'll get more into those examples. I'm trying to avoid examples as much as I can, because I want to do that more with videos and have a whole better setup with this. I'm still just talking a lot of this out. So, redemptive potential to the Luciferian impulse can be redeemed through beauty, creativity, and service. Have a life, a love and life that is shared with others. You know, be of service to others. Um, Lucifer really sits in the ego. And the ego does not serve others. It only serves itself. Ahriman, all external, can be redeemed through moral clarity, precision, and structure. And I think moral clarity, you know, a lot of, you want to, Ahriman wants to change. There's no love, there's no love for the self. It's a constant look to progress. That nothing is acceptable as it is. There's no peace. There's no enjoyment for how things are in that way. And so when we are precise, when we are cultivating structures around us that carry the wisdom, you know, it's one thing to progress or keep a well, you know, let me know what you think as well with all of this and these categories. I'm trying to share these ideas, but I want to keep in mind that this is also an exploration, and I'm welcoming you with me in this. And if you have any thoughts and opinions about these categories and what's it about, how to emphasize more, I just put this chart together and trying to create a reference to what we're going to analyze other videos and things about. And so let me know in these oppositions. The Christ impulse leads through true evolution, and this is the redemption quality. It's self-remembering and transmutation of pain. when we feel pain and we trans and we alchemicalize it, we go through it, we sit with it, we listen to it, we make peace with it, and we can allow it to let it go. It we are we are we gain a wisdom because that pain is not unique. A lot of people, that pain can be found in anybody. And when you can sit with it and make peace with it and let it go, you have also healed that same pain for everybody. This is what brings a step in evolution for everyone. That work that you do in your inner world and then bringing it out. And that self-remembering, right? Who you are. You know, that's a unique place because you're not who you are in society, and you're not your ego either. So we can explore that too. You know, how do you remember who you are? Where so much of this world tries to makes it easy to forget. What cultivates that light in our heart? Allows us to create, that excites us to connect with others and collaborate with life, all life. Now here we have two more categories. I'd like to try to finish this up. This was a lot longer than expected, but I'm hoping you're enjoying this as well. So the integration method. When it comes to Lucifer, the Luciferian impulse, we want to ground spiritual vision into loving embodied action. You may get all these creative ideas and things, and how can that be shared with everybody? Again, it is of service. Your ideas that's coming through to you could easily have been to anybody else. But it comes to you because perhaps you are sitting in the right angle for that to happen. You got the right perspective at that moment in the world around you to get this vision. Got the right view. Help everyone from that. It's not that you are this. Again, it's not to feed the ego. So we can integrate spiritual vision through a type of service to loving embodied action. Now, Ahriman integration is to spiritualize matter through conscious soulful participation. We can work 80 hours, and just be struggling to get by. That's survival mode, you know? And it's not about progress. It's about what we're cultivating. What wisdom are we working towards? If you're working all that just to feed the Luciferian ego, or try to make progress, but you're not, there's no heart in any of that. It's not going to, it's going to, again, be too off. The Christ impulse is to live from the heart, transform shadow into service, embody truth. And I think the more we start to identify these different polarities within ourselves, and we can look to navigate through the Christ impulse, we can cultivate that light within our heart and service to others a lot easier. It will come more naturally. Now, quickly, in the last section here, Christ's role in balancing these impulses. So Lucifer channels Luciferic gifts into divine creativity via the heart. Ahriman redeems Ahrimanic systems through warmth, conscious and compassion. And the Christ is to hold Lucifer and Ahriman in perfect tension, aligns both to serve divine will. I didn't expect this to be this long. If that's okay, leave a comment, and you know, I wanted to keep these shorter, but just to finish these aspects here up, we get a lot of creativity from our imagination and deep thought from our internal world. How do we turn that into gifts? How do we put that into service? And externally, with Ahriman, we have a lot of structures and societies. We have regulations, we have laws, we have different ways that, in order to navigate through the life that we're living in, these systems, are they cultivating? Is it allowing creativity to come through? Is it allowing you to voice yourself? Is it empowering you? Or are these systems founded in control and disempowerment of your creative expressions? Christ's impulse holds both Lucifer and Ahriman in balance, both to serve divine will. When they are held right, we can cultivate the light within your heart, to service to yourself and others. A lot of ways, this is a removal of status and ego, who you are in society and who you think you are, or the ego. You know, those things don't matter when you have love in your heart for yourself and the people around you in your community and the life. It's just more rewarding to live amongst life and try to control it or be above it. So that's what I have to say about this today. Again, if you have any comments, likes, or things I could go further into, we go into making media or referencing shows and things of the sort. That's kind of going to be the reference, and things that I'm going to be referencing with. And If you have any ideas or emphasis or things that you want to share, again, I'm exploring this with you, and I welcome you. Maybe you know more about this than I do. I like this information. I think it's good. And if you thank you for being part of this exploration with me.